From glamorous icons that lost their shine to bold experiments that never found their place, Ford's history is filled with cars the world has nearly forgotten. Some promised innovation, but vanished too soon, while others became remembered for all the wrong reasons. From Europe to America, these machines once carried families, defined eras, or even aimed to change Ford's future, only to slip quietly into the shadows. Today, we'll journey through chrome-lined dreams, failed muscle legends, quirky compacts, and one of the biggest flops in automotive history. This is the untold story of 10 forgotten Ford cars that vanished into history, starting with the most overlooked and ending with the most infamous. In the number 10 position, we have the Ford Vedette, a car that looked like a mini Detroit cruiser, but was actually built in France. The 1952 model year is often remembered as the best of its short life, offering a smooth V8 engine packed into a European-sized sedan. At the time, Ford believed Europe was ready for American style on smaller streets. The Vedette had chrome, curves, and presence, but it struggled against cheaper, more practical cars. Sales were weak, and by the mid-50s, Ford handed the project to Simca, sealing its fate. Today, the Vedette is a ghost from an era when Ford dreamed of conquering Europe in grand American fashion. Forgotten by most, it remains a reminder of how ambition sometimes gets lost in translation. In the number 9 position, we have the Ford Zephyr, a car that once defined middle-class life in post-war Britain. The 1962 Zephyr Mark III is often considered the highlight of the lineup, praised for its roomy interior and smooth straight-six engine. For many families, it was the big, dependable Ford that felt just a little luxurious without breaking the bank. It cruised the highways with confidence and gave buyers a sense of pride. But as time moved on, sleeker models like the Cortina and later the Sierra stole the spotlight, leaving the Zephyr behind. By the 1970s, its name was quietly retired, and the once beloved sedan drifted into the shadows of Ford's history. Today, only collectors and die-hard enthusiasts remember how important it once was. The Zephyr may be forgotten, but it played a key role in shaping Ford's European story. In the number 8 position, we have the Ford Anglia, a small car with big character. The 1966 Anglia 105E stands out as the most memorable year, famous for its sharp fins, backward-sloping rear window, and surprisingly reliable four-cylinder engine. For Britain's working class, it was the affordable car that made daily travel possible, and for young drivers, it was a stylish entry into motoring. Despite its success in the 1960s, the Anglia couldn't keep up with newer designs, and Ford quickly replaced it with the Escort. Over time, the Anglia faded into obscurity, remembered mainly when it made a magical appearance in the Harry Potter films. Beyond its pop culture cameo, this little Ford told a bigger story: how clever design and affordability could win the hearts of a generation. Forgotten by many, the Anglia remains one of Ford's most distinctive experiments. In the number 7 position, we have the Ford Consul Capri, one of the most stylish yet overlooked cars Ford ever built. The 1964 model year is often remembered as its best, offering sleek American-inspired lines wrapped around a European-sized coupe. It looked like something out of California, with its long hood and sweeping roofline, but under the skin it carried only modest engines that never matched its glamorous looks. Buyers loved the design but wanted more power, and the Consul Capri never quite delivered on that promise. Sales remained low, and Ford quietly phased it out within a few years. Today, spotting one on the road feels like stumbling across a hidden treasure. Though forgotten by most, the Consul Capri showed Ford's willingness to dream big in Europe, even if the dream burned out too quickly. In the number 6 position, we have the Ford Taunus, a car that once shaped Ford's identity in post-war Germany. The 1970 Taunus TC stands out as one of its most solid years, blending practicality with just enough style to compete with Opel and Volkswagen. With its crisp lines and reliable four-cylinder engines, the Taunus became a household name for German families, looking for an affordable yet respectable ride. It sold well through the 60s and 70s, but as Ford began unifying its lineup across Europe, the Taunus nameplate disappeared in favor of the Ford Sierra. Over time, its memory faded, overshadowed by flashier models and stronger global branding. Today, only classic car shows and die-hard collectors keep the Taunus alive. Forgotten by many, it remains an important reminder of Ford's once local approach to building cars for each region. In the number 5 position, we have the Ford Torino, a car that once thundered down American streets during the muscle car era. The 1970 Torino Cobra is often seen as its peak year, boasting a powerful 429 V8 in sleek fastback styling that made it a true rival to the Chevelle SS and Dodge Charger. It carried raw performance, style, and the swagger of a golden age. But as the 1970s wore on, rising insurance costs, stricter emissions laws, and the oil crisis began to choke muscle cars into extinction. The Torino slowly lost its edge, transforming into a softer family sedan before being retired entirely. Today, it is rarely mentioned alongside Mustang legends, despite once being a star. The Torino may be forgotten, but for a brief moment, it stood tall as one of Ford's purest muscle machines. In the number 4 position, we have the Ford Thunderbird, a name once synonymous with style and prestige. The 1957 Thunderbird is often hailed as its finest year, a glamorous two-seater with a powerful V8 and elegant design that rivaled Chevrolet's Corvette. It wasn't just a car, it was a statement of success, the kind of machine that turned heads on every boulevard. Over time, though, the Thunderbird's identity became blurred. It grew larger, heavier, and shifted from sporty roadster to personal luxury coupe, losing the spark that made it special. By the 1990s, it was no longer the cultural icon it had once been, and Ford eventually retired the name. Today, the Thunderbird feels like a memory, overshadowed by the Mustang's enduring legend. Yet for those who remember, it was once the car that made Ford glamorous. In the number 3 position, we have the Ford Probe, a car that nearly replaced the Mustang. The 1989 model year is often considered its best, delivering sleek, futuristic styling and a partnership with Mazda that gave it a smooth, modern front-wheel drive platform. It was efficient, aerodynamic, and aimed at the younger generation that wanted something different from classic muscle. But the Probe's identity was its greatest weakness. Mustang loyalists rejected it outright, refusing to let a front-drive coupe take the pony car's crown. While Ford wisely kept the Mustang alive, the Probe struggled to find its place. Sales dwindled through the 1990s, and by 1997, the model was gone. Today, it is rarely remembered, despite once being marketed as Ford's car of the future. The Probe stands as a reminder of how close Ford came to rewriting its own legacy. In the number 2 position, we have the Ford Pinto, a car designed to be small, affordable, and efficient for a changing America. The 1974 model year is often noted as one of its strongest, offering decent reliability and fuel economy during the oil crisis. For many families, it was the first taste of compact car ownership from an American brand. But the Pinto's legacy was forever scarred by its infamous safety scandal. Rear-end collisions that led to devastating fires. What should have been remembered as Ford's smart response to rising fuel costs instead became a case study in corporate missteps. Despite selling in huge numbers, the Pinto name was quietly retired, leaving behind a reputation that overshadowed its original purpose. Today, it is more a cautionary tale than a classic. Forgotten as a car, remembered only for controversy, the Pinto remains one of Ford's most notorious chapters. In the number 1 position, we have the Ford Edsel, a car that promised to redefine Ford's future, but instead became its most famous failure. The 1958 model year was its grand debut, launched with huge publicity, bold styling, and a new vision of mid-level luxury. Ford expected it to dominate the market, offering unique features and a look unlike anything else on the road. But the timing was disastrous. The recession had hit, buyers found the design awkward, and the price didn't match the hype. Sales collapsed, and within just 3 years, the Edsel was gone. What should have been Ford's crown jewel became a cautionary tale of marketing gone wrong. Today, the Edsel is remembered not for its innovation, but for its downfall, making it the most infamous, forgotten Ford of all.